and welcome back to Sex Work and Love, a podcast about navigating intimate relationships as an adult industry worker. I'm your host, Delilah Saul. I'm a filmmaker, writer, and performer with over a decade of experience inside the sex industry. In today's episode, I'm chatting with Trixie Morella, a multimedia artist, sex worker, and community advocate based in New York. I met Trixie for the first time last year when they performed at our community open mic for sex workers. I want to take a quick detour here to tell you more about the Sex Worker Open Mic because the next one is tomorrow, Wednesday, April 8th in Brooklyn. In 2024, myself and some other New York City sex workers started the mic in an effort to raise money for folks in Gaza while also making a space to gather with our friends and peers. It's an event that deliberately centers LGBTQ+ sex workers, and it's also become a space to build meaningful relationships, giving us a place to make new friends, get to know our neighbors, and be together in solidarity against the horrors of the world. We've raised over $3,000 for 3 families from Gaza, all of whom have ties to our local community. So again, the open mic is tomorrow, Wednesday, April 8th, and actually, Trixie Morella is our feature performer. Doors open at 6 p.m., mic sign-up is first come, first serve, and a link to the flyer with more information is available in the episode description. Okay, so I met Trixie at the open mic, and then a few weeks later, I put out a call for people who wanted to participate in the documentary I was filming about the love lives of sex workers. Trixie volunteered and joined myself and a group of our peers in an on-camera support circle where we discussed our dating experiences. In our conversation today, Trixie reflects on a traumatic relationship where their sex work was a factor. Parts of this episode may be difficult to listen to. We will be discussing pregnancy, abortion, sexual assault, and anti-trans hate. What happened to Trixie is terrible. And also, in hearing them tell their story, we have the opportunity to bear witness to a person with a tremendous spirit. Lastly, I want to apologize because today's audio quality is not the best. We were recording during a blizzard and there were some connection issues, so the sound is a bit shaky at times, and there are a few moments in this conversation where we accidentally talk over each other. Please forgive me. Okay, let's go meet Trixie Morella. Hi, hello.
Hi, hello.
Tell us about yourself, like where are you from? What are your passions?
I was born and raised in the Deep South and also raised in the Northeast. So I did a lot of flying back and forth, driving back and forth. I moved growing up at least once every year. And my passion really is just creative expression. I'm an adult entertainer on camera, live streams, posting and whatnot. And also on stage, I do go-go dancing, burlesque, drag. I also paint, make music. I make clothes, upcycle clothes, make costumes and things like that. The main things that I always am trying to express is advocating for my community, advocating for our visibility, the fact that we exist, the fact that we deserve to exist. When I say my communities, I mean Black women, young women, sex workers, trans people. I love to put myself out there in different ways. So it's like people can kind of like take me and my story in whichever way is digestible for them.
Yeah. So you're very public about the fact that you're a sex worker. You're one of the only sex workers in the film who is like fully out. How did you make the decision to be open about it?
I entered the field of adult entertainment on film, so pornography. And before doing that, I spent a lot of time thinking about whether or not I would do that and why and how I would go about it. I did a lot of journaling, talking with my best friends and with my therapist. When I entered the porn industry, I knew that I wasn't only going to be a porn star, which is why I made the name Trixie Morella as well, because I'm like, it sounds like a good porn name. It has the extras in it, Trixie, but it also sounds like it could be like a clothing brand. It also sounds like a musician's name. I'm like, there's lots of different ways that I could go with this name that could fit under the same creative umbrella. I know that a lot of people enter sex work out of necessity or desperation or survival. For me, I chose entering the adult film industry. Technically, it was for survival because it's a job and you need a job to survive, but it was more so a career choice. I kind of chose entering the adult film industry thinking like, okay, sex workers are a group of people who are widely discriminated against. And I never agreed with that. I've always had an interest in things that society has put a stigma on, whether it's weed and psychedelics or sex work. And at a younger age, it's like I didn't understand why sex workers were stigmatized, especially when they're so glorified in the media.
How old were you when you entered the industry?
I was 18. It was the year of 2019. So my whole reason for becoming a sex worker, being a porn star, was because it is public and people are going to see my face. They're going to see that this is happening. And I pretty much didn't want to be around people who think that, you know, being an adult performer as a job is something to be ashamed of or is something bad. You know, so I pretty much just wanted to have my circle correct. Like, if you support me, you're here. If you don't, then you're homophobic and I don't like you anyway. And also from the very beginning, I wanted to use my platform to speak up for injustices in our community as sex workers, as women, as queer people, as trans people, etc. I knew from the very beginning that that's what I wanted to use my platform for. And you know, sex sells, so I figured that'd be a good place to start and get my platform popular.
Yeah, totally. That's a beautiful thing. When I came into the sex industry, I made the decision right away that I didn't want to keep it a secret from people. And it definitely cost me a lot of grief, a lot of pushback from my family for years. I'm still dealing with it 11 years later, but I'm glad that I had just ripped that Band-Aid off from the beginning, because by the time I did start promoting myself as an artist or even just gaining visibility as an artist, I wasn't worried about the divide. I was like, it's fine. It's just part of me. It's what I'm doing and you can take it or leave it. There's a privilege in being able to choose to do that with our lives, but it also comes, it does also make you more vulnerable.
Yeah, I found that there's people who they actually are not coming into my circle because they support me, but because they want to take advantage of me and my vulnerability.
Yep. I've definitely attracted more than one fetishist, like people who see that I'm a sex worker and they want it to say something about them, that they're dating this stripper girl or whatever. And it was something that I had to learn by doing to recognize it and be like, oh shit.
Being openly a sex worker, it has kind of created a distrust of me towards other people because I don't know when people come around what their real intentions are with me, you know?
Yes, my trust has been definitely damaged over the years because I protected myself in terms of being like, well, nobody could ever out me because I've already outed myself. But it created vulnerabilities that I couldn't foresee because I didn't expect people to really see me as this kind of freak.
Literally.
Why don't we talk about a conversation that you had with us in the support circle that didn't make it into the film, but you shared a story about an ex. Would you share that story now with listeners?
Yeah, I will. When I look in retrospect, it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? Spooky. I'm just going to say spooky because I was really targeted, you know, because of my identity. I feel like I was targeted because I'm queer, because I was a lesbian, and because I was a sex worker. I dated one man. He was friends with some of my friends, and we all would go out on the weekends and we had all types of adventures together. And at some point, he started being flirtatious with me. And I told him, I was like, I'm a lesbian, but I'm also young and turned. You could take me on a date type vibes, you know,
Yeah.
But, you know, this was followed by a whole bunch of what I now know was love bombing. And at this point, we hadn't even kissed or anything like that yet. But I was like, okay, I like you because the love bombing was working. He seemed like he worshiped the ground I walked on. And I was like, as you should type vibe, you know?
Exactly. That's why love bombing works on me. Because I'm like, yeah, this is the right amount.
Before any of the dating or anything even happened, when we were hanging out all as a group, it would always come up into the conversation somehow that he had a vasectomy. Like he would be like, I don't like to wear condoms, so that's why I just got the vasectomy. I got to be safe. By the time we actually did start like intentionally dating, like boyfriend, girlfriend type vibes, we started having sex without a condom. That's when I let him know, like, okay, you should know that I don't want to be pregnant. I've been planning to get a hysterectomy since I was 16. It was only my second relationship. I've only been in 2 relationships. I really didn't even know how things were supposed to go or what it's supposed to look like. So like him, you know, not coming home at night and stuff like that. Like there's nights where I was going out dancing or whatever, and I didn't come home till the morning either. Like, you know, I found out that the whole time he was love bombing me and all that he had a girlfriend. He cheated with that girl. He cheated with some other girl.
Ugh.
And we were on and off for like a couple of years just because he was doing fuck shit. Like a whole summer went by where we were just friends and it was cool and it was cute, seemingly anyway. And then towards the end of that summer, that's when he was like, I miss you. I want you to be my girlfriend. He was like pleading and like saying all the stuff he's going to do right. So about a month and a half in is when I realized I was feeling kind of funny. I was getting kind of thick. My boobs were getting big. And when I started suspecting that I was pregnant, before I could even tell him, he was like, you might be pregnant.
The next piece of audio is a little unclear, but it's the most important moment in this story. Trixie is about to reveal that their ex lied about his vasectomy.
Even when I found out that I was pregnant, I still didn't know that he lied about his vasectomy. Like, I was thinking, like, dang, this is that 0.007% chance of pregnancy. In the moment, I didn't think it was weird.
How did you figure out that he lied about it?
First, I just searched my name in all his messages. Like, I went to his Instagram messages and his text messages, and I searched my name, and I just looked to see what he was saying about me and to who. And I saw just a bunch of crazy stuff. He was saying stuff like, oh, Trap City baby, like talking to his friends, joking with his friends about trapping me with the baby. He just had a lot of messages with friends. Some of them were about me, some of them weren't even about me, but they pretty much were confirming the fact that he doesn't have a vasectomy. He does have to worry about birth control and things like that. There's like some things where he talks about using a condom because he needed to. So I pretty much, I put 2 and 2 together, but even just from putting 2 and 2 together, I didn't want to believe that. I was like, maybe I'm like reading this wrong. Maybe I'm reading into it the wrong way. So then I started to ask around. I asked his ex-wife, some of his other ex-girlfriends, and some of them, they were receptive to me and they were receptive to helping, but they didn't want to be too involved out of fear of him. So yeah, I was just asking, I was like, do you know whether or not he has a vasectomy? And yeah, pretty much everybody was like, nah, like he lied.
But wait, so are you still pregnant at this point?
No, at this point I wasn't pregnant anymore. So he wasn't even that supportive during the abortion. Like he came and picked me up, but then he left me in the house really to recover by myself. There was literally just one day where he said that he left a phone charger at his friend's house and he said he was going to get it. He was like, I'll be back in like 2 hours. And he never came back. He abandoned me and the dog. And 2 weeks later, that's when I found out that he was cheating.
Oh my God.
He like started posting the next girl and like saying,
oh my jaw's on the floor.
That's the thing that really gets me is that he started the lie before he even started dating me, before he ever even expressed interest in me. And he said the lie in front of other people so that other people also think it's part of his story. Like, so if I ask someone else, oh, does this person have a vasectomy? They'll be like, yeah, he told me he has a vasectomy. Like,
so scary.
Yeah, literally. When I look back, I get so spooked out just because I wonder, like, did he see my porn before he met me, or somewhere along the way did he see it and he knew I don't want to have babies? He was like, okay, I know this person doesn't want to have babies. I know this person doesn't like men. Like, let me conquered, you know?
It just sucks that you even have to wonder those things. Like, you even have to wonder, like, okay, this terrible sexual predator of a man came in and blew up my life. And, like, did he target me because of these qualities that already make me more vulnerable in the world?
Well, let me add on this little detail, because when I met him, I didn't think that he was straight. I thought he was queer. I thought he was pansexual. Because like I said, we were in the same friend group, and it was a queer friend group. We were going to queer events, and we were in queer spaces and all of that, you know? And even his ex, the one that he cheated with, you know, like, that was a trans person. That was a trans woman.
In case you didn't catch that, Trixie says that prior to their relationship, he was partnered with a trans woman.
So I'm thinking he's openly queer, you know.
Oh my God.
I found out at the very end that he's actually DL. Like, he actually hangs around homophobic people, and he even will be homophobic or transphobic. There was even times where, like, we've been out in public and he would be, like, with his guy friends, his straight guy friends, and they will, like, you know, say that some woman is beautiful or something like that. And then he'll be like, that's a boy. You don't know that's a boy? You don't know that's a boy? Like, what? We were just married to a trans woman. Like, what are you saying? And that's the thing, is, like, you would think when you meet him, he's queer friendly. He doesn't let other people get bullied around him and all that. So he virtue signals like he's, like, this really good hero character, but after a while, like, he will show his true colors. And you know what's crazy? Is he's not even only like this romantically. He's like this with his friends, too.
Oh, I believe it.
Men are pussy. They pretty much kiss his ass because he's big and strong.
It's always... I'm working on some essays about this right now, just about how, you know, what our culture has come to view as the alpha male is just, like, the weakest one, always. Like, he's just, like, the weakest man in the group, and all these other men want to follow that one. I'm like, don't follow that one. He doesn't know anything about anything. Oh, my God.
Once I found out about the vasectomy, I was like, bro, this guy is a rapist. What he did is called reproductive coercion. I did not consent to having contact with his viable sperm, you know?
No, that's literally rape.
Yeah. And so I, you know, went and I was posting this, and he doxed my birth name. He was like, oh, this is what I get for fucking with a porn star. You're the worst bitch I ever fucked with.
Well, I'm smiling for you, because if a man like that gives you the title of the worst bitch he ever fucked with, you know you're doing something right.
I'm really happy that he said that, because it's like, I feel really brave, because I actually, by the time he said that, I had already spoken to his other exes, because I was trying to put the story together when it comes to surviving abusers. Some people don't know that they were abused, or some people still take the abuser's side, et cetera. So some people were still taking his side. Some people were taking his side while still admitting that he was an abuser.
Yeah.
And then some people were, like, saying, like, yes, he is an abuser and I don't want to be involved. I don't want my name involved. I understood where those women were coming from. And so that's why I feel really brave to have, like, pretty much be a mouthpiece. Like, yeah, these other women, they are scared to speak up, and I'm scared to speak up too. But at the same time, like...
Well, you are so brave, and it really sucks that you even have to worry about any of that shit. I know you said you've only had 2 partners, but just in dating in general, have you dated anybody who is supportive of you and supportive of your sex work, and, like, who you feel like is really on your side?
Yeah. Actually, the partner that I had before him, they were also a trans person, a non-binary Black woman. And they also had experience with sex work. So that was really nice. Just having someone who, not only did they have experience with sex work, they also had very radical thoughts around, you know, women and sex workers, et cetera. So we got to have really stimulating conversations about sex work.
Beautiful. Yeah, that sounds like somebody who's much more on your level.
When I'm looking to date, I think I would prefer to date other sex workers. They don't have to be the same type of sex worker as me. They don't even have to currently be a sex worker. But, you know, like, I think I would prefer to date someone who has that perspective.
I hear that so often, and that's something that I have even felt myself at a certain point. My dating life just was so frustrating for so long, for years and years and years. I just could not find somebody who was totally supportive of my sex work. And it definitely reached the point where I was like, okay, I think that I can only date another femme sex worker. Like, I really believe that might be the only option in terms of finding somebody who will really be willing to understand me. It's not true that only sex workers can understand each other, because like literally all you have to do as a non-sex worker is like listen to us and like try on our perspective, like understand our experiences, understand us as an oppressed demographic, ways that we might be individually oppressed in different ways, whether that's because we're racialized or we're queer or trans or drug users or whatever. Like, understanding your partner's identities is so important. And so often sex workers are not afforded that foundational piece in our relationships. And so I totally understand the impulse and the desire to only be with other sex workers. Like, I think that's a totally valid desire in and of itself, to be with other sex workers, like regardless of whether you feel you could be supported by non-sex workers. Like, it's a real, I totally get why a sex worker would specifically want to date within the community. And that actually brings me kind of to like the conclusion of this episode, where we talked about rancid shit that you've been through. When we filmed this support circle, everybody shared dating horror stories. And then before we closed the conversation that day, you posed a question to the group and we all took turns answering it. And that really helped end things on like a very beautiful and hopeful note. And so I'm going to turn that same question around to you here and ask you, what does your ideal partnership look like?
So ideally, yeah, I guess I will say I don't want to like speak towards an imaginary person's identity. I would love to date another sex worker, but also I'm not ruling out people who are not sex workers. But ideally, I would like to be with someone who is radical, intelligent, loving, and caring in a way that is emotionally intelligent and intentional. I definitely want to find myself with someone who has an understanding of how to regulate their own emotions, who will take the time to love me the way that I like to be loved, and, you know, who can receive love, who has space to receive love, and also someone who I can have stimulating, life and world-changing conversations with. And ideally, someone that I can also work with.
I hope that you find it and that you have a long and beautiful road of relationships ahead of you.
Yeah.
So where can folks find you and your art and your sexy content?
You can find out everything about me on my website that I made myself, TrixieMorella.com. On the first page, you can find all of the things that are safe for work, my visual art, my music. You can learn about any upcoming events that I have. And if you click on the side tab, it has my merch and my adult content. And on the adult page, that's where you can find my videos, my streaming sites, and you can find out how to tip me for adult things. So this is something that people, I think, get confused on. They go to my page and they press contact, asking me about like, oh, how do I video call you? Or like, how do I see you? Or something. And it's like, no, the contact page is for other artists, employers, et cetera, to book me or collaborate with me. If you go to my adult tab, then you will see that there's a space where you can tip me my tribute, and then you can speak to me after I get my money.
Tribute first.
Literally.
Okay, perfect. So that link to Trixie's website will be in the episode notes. Trixie, I was just thinking, how about I close the episode with one of your songs?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah. I just dropped a song on January 11th, 111. The song, it's called I'm Too Sexy for My Everything. I'm kind of speaking up for sex workers, for sexy people, sexy women, Black women in particular, young women who have been told that they're fast or that they're too fast. And it's like, okay, you say I'm too fast? Okay, so I'm going to take it far type vibes.
Go fast, go far, baby. If you like the show, please leave a rating and review. It really helps me out. Also, share this podcast with a friend. If you want to support my work, you can become a free or paid Substack subscriber. That link is in the episode notes. If you want to get in touch, email me at info@outlawmediacompany.com. Come meet me here next time for more sex work and love. Thanks for listening.
I'm all about my Friday night.